Hi, Level Up community. It's me again, Kisha, and I'm here to show to you how I will be communicating with my clients when I discuss ISO strike price is equals to the fair market value. So let's go. So, hello, client. Thank you so much for reaching out to us. And after this call, I will assure you that you will have more understanding on the transactions, including when the ISO strike price is equals to the fair market values. So, let's dive into it. These are the things that you need to know. What is the strike price and the fair market value? So, strike price is actually the price at which a put or call option can be exercised. It is usually a fixed price at which you have the option to buy or to sell. And what is FMB? FMB, or the fair market value, may be different for publicly traded companies and private companies. So in case of publicly traded companies, FMB is typically the stock's closing price on the grant of exercise date. And for private companies, FMB is determined through a formal appraisal process such as 409A valuation to ensure compliance with tax regulations. But we have to stick in the assumption of the discussion that the ISO strike price is equals to the fair market value. And maybe you're asking the reason why this phenomena could happen. It could be because your company isn't public yet and you have been issued with a startup stock by a startup company because you have just been hired. So next, the ISO journey, and which I will be discussing on the next slides, the buying and the selling phase, and let's see the tax strategies. So the ISO journey begins when you are awarded the options. The next step is buying the stock or exercising the option. And finally, we have the selling phase where you decide to sell your stocks. So again, we have to stick with the assumption that the ISO strike price is equals to the fair market value. So before buying, you have to make sure that you have the enough cash to buy the stocks. And we have to determine if there will be ordinary income tax or AMT. But again, if the ISO strike price is equals to the fair market value, there is no ordinary income tax nor alternative minimum tax. Thus, there is nothing to report during buying. It's different after buying or on the selling phase. So after buying, you have to keep track of the basis of your stocks and the date of purchase, because this is crucial to ensure that we have computed the correct gain or loss from the transactions, and if the gain or loss is a short term or a long term, because it actually differs in tax computation. So during the selling process, these are the things that you have to consider: basis, the FMV, the ordinary income tax or AMT. But again, there is no AMT or ordinary IT upon buying, but in selling there may be. So we have to keep track of that. And the tax due upon exercise. This is our final concern, what should be reported on the tax return when you have exercised ISOs on this assumption. So next, the selling phase. So again, during the selling phase, these are the things that we have to importantly consider. Number one, the capital gains that should be reported on the Form 1040 under Form 8949, and the subtotals are carried to Schedule D of Form 1040. So second is the basis calculation, which is important for us to determine the number one, the capital gains. Basis calculations is usually the price in which when you bought your ISOs versus the price when you sell your ISOs. So that will determine the capital gains. And third is the estimated tax payments. We have to determine just the enough amount of tax that we will be paying to avoid penalties. So this is a visual presentation of what I have been discussing to you during the buying and the selling phase. And you can take a look at this. Um, I'll give you a copy of this, but I have included all of this in my discussion. So let's proceed to the next. Lastly, there are several tax strategies that we can look into for you to um, better maximize the exercise of your ISO. So first is the qualified small business tax, or the QSBS. So if you're working with a startup, QSBS could allow you to exclude up to 100% of your capital gains from federal taxes, provided only that you hold the stock for more than 5 years. So this is 5 years. Next is the opportunity zones. Investing in an opportunity zone could lead to a permanent exclusion of new gains or future gains if your investment is held for at least 10 years. So we can have a separate discussion on that, just in case your ISOs fall under this category. So third, again, the estimated tax payments. We have to have at least the minimum amount to pay for taxes and avoid penalties, because again, paying tax on time is the most underrated tax strategies. We can avoid penalties and underpayment penalties. So the final output of this is the reporting of the capital gains or loss, and to determine if it's a short-term or a long-term gain or loss. And lastly is to determine what are the exclusions that we can claim for you to maximize your transactions and report it properly with the tax authorities. So that's it. Thank you so much for reaching out to us. And if you have questions, please do not hesitate to email us or send us a message, and we will be happy to answer your inquiries. Thank you so much. And level of community, that is how I will be communicating with my client on the discussion of when ISO strike price is equals to the fair market value. Thank you for watching my learning recap, and on to the next level. Bye-bye.